once they're healthy enough, they could apply for life insurance again
Oh, I see. Okay.
on their own.
So, a point taken here is that when you have a small child, give birth to a child,
Yes.
get the
Mm-hmm.
child insured
Right.
because you never know throughout the child's life what type of physical challenges
Mm-hmm.
or emotional challenges they may
Mm-hmm.
have that may cause you to not. Now,
Right.
that brings up another point,
Mm-hmm.
mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any mental health challenges to getting life insurance?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
see, that's another thing that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know.
So think about it for a child. The moment they're born, they're healthy, and then over the years of time, there's developmental stages that are probably deterred and
Hmm.
mental challenges as well.
Hmm.
That is another issue for the underwriter to look at. Is this something permanent, or is this something that a child can outgrow over the years of time? When that happens, there's a halt on everything. It could be a decline once again until the underwriter finds that over the course of time the health changes are actually favorable for us to issue a life insurance policy.
I am learning a lot
Mm-hmm.
because these are things I did not even know, and
Yes.
questions that just came up in our
Uh-huh.
conversation. So, Cynthia Tan, again,
Mm-hmm.
with New York Life, you want to get in contact with her to
Right.
discuss your family's needs. Everyone's family is different, whether you have one member of your family or
Mm-hmm.
10 or 20. You know, check out Cynthia Tan, go to her website, call her, get information so that you won't have that feeling of not being covered, because every once in a while you'll think about it,
Yes. Yes.
whether you're exposed,
Mm-hmm.
so that you have that peace of mind,
Uh-huh.
give you a call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, individuals always think, okay, I'm healthy, I don't need life insurance, and when they think they need life insurance is when something happens to their health. And
Right.
always happens, always happens. And I would always educate everyone and just tell people just find out what it is. You don't have to buy anything at that point. Having different kinds of options for you, that would be an informed decision as to whether you need it or not and what kind of life insurance policy you need.
Exactly, because it's personalized.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. And so now back to the family.
Right.
um, our families are kind of living together longer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of blended families.
Yes.
And so when I want to talk for a moment about blended families, because we see a lot of blended families
Mm-hmm.
now. And so when there's a blended family, and let's say some of the kids are over 18,
Mm-hmm.
can the parents of that blended family get a life insurance policy for each individual in that family?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. It could be an adult. It could be an adult child. It
Mm-hmm.
could be a young child. Yes, they can. It just depends on. You always have to find out. Okay, what's the reason why they're buying life insurance?
Right.
Okay. Just to let you know. Okay, back to the children's policy again.
Mm-hmm.
One of the questions on the application states that does the parent or the owner of the policy have at least the minimum same amount of life insurance as the child? Because think about it. If a parent only has $50,000 coverage and they're buying $1 million coverage for the child, that's a red flag right there.
Right.
And people do that, and that's a big question. That's a big question for the underwriter. Why are you buying more life insurance for the child? So insurable interest, crucial when the underwriter looks at the file.
Amazing. Amazing. And then my other question was for single people.
Mm-hmm.
Who, some people are single, they don't have any children,
Right.
they may have older parents.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about them as far as insurance policies are concerned?
Okay. So for a single person, you're probably taking care of an aging parent,
Mm-hmm.
or you probably have siblings that you're supporting, or you may have a debt a liability that would still continue even though you're gone. That's why life insurance, even for a single person, is very important. Perfect example will be college students.
Yes.
Single people, some of them have loans where the parents actually co-sign for the loan.
Mm-hmm.
So they need life insurance because if something were to happen to them, the parents still have to pay for the loan, right?
That's right.
And it's crucial. No, a single person definitely. It just depends on what your liabilities are. There are liabilities that still continue even after your death.
Wow. So parents who have students in
Mm-hmm.
college, you make sure your kids are insured
Mm-hmm.
because most parents do have to
Right.
co-sign on those loans.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's something else. I'm learning a lot today, Cynthia. I'm
hmm
so glad you came in.
Thank
You
you.
know, that's why we do this, though. Lunch with
Uh-huh.
the Finance Bunch. I tell everyone, no one can know everything. That's why
hmm
you bring in the experts and ask
Right.
them all the questions.
hmm
So a child, young adult in
Right.
college, creating debt, going to school, that's another whole show.
hmm
Um,
Yes.
but at the end of that, they could be $50,000 or $60,000 in debt. They could be
Right.
$100,000 in debt. It just depends on
hmm
what they're studying.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so the parent who co-signed for that loan, inevitably, if something were to happen to that child, the parent will still have to pay that loan.
Right.
So if there's an insurance policy in place,
hmm
then the insurance policy makes sure it's enough to cover at least the student loans and the burial
Right.
of that child.
Mhm. So that's why for single individuals, it's very important too to talk to an insurance professional
Right.
just to see what their options are. There has to be a need why you're buying life insurance,
Right.
and sometimes that need may be a little amount of coverage, or sometimes it could be a huge life insurance policy.
Right.
Just depends on what your needs are.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And, we're with Cynthia Tan today from New York Life, and we're talking about life insurance. And like we said, it's not the subject everyone wants to talk
Yes.
about, but it
Mhm.
is the subject that everyone would need
Mhm.
to know about.
Right.
Because as certainly as we live, we will pass away one day. And
Yes.
so it's not comfortable, but it's true. So we have to prepare for these things, and being wealth minded, this is an aspect of it. It's an
Mhm.
aspect of it that people just don't want to think about, talk about. And yes, there are a lot of us out there who have life insurance policies, but we need to understand what we have so we know what our coverage is also.
Right.
Because like you said, if it's a term policy, the word term is in there. That means that
Mhm.
there's an end
Yes.
to it, and you want to make sure that within the term
Mhm.
of your policy that you check on other policies that you may want to have complement that, because at the end of the term, if you're older,
Right.
the policy may cost more.
Yes.
So yes, term policy is less expensive,
Mm-hmm.
but within the term, speak to your agent or
Right.
to Cynthia
Mm-hmm.
and talk about maybe some things you might
A
need to
review.
add, a
Mhm.
review,
Mm-hmm.
because your family dynamics change.
Yes. Yes.
You're the parents of small children, or you're single,
Right.
and you get married. Now you have a wife or a husband. You
Mhm.
want to protect them,
Yes.
right? You
Mhm.
have children. You want to protect the children.
Right.
The children grow up. They go to college.
Yes.
You got to make sure they're covered right. So
Mhm.
this is an ongoing relationship that you have with someone.
Right.
So you want it to be with someone knowledgeable.
Mhm.
You want it to be with someone who can
Mhm.
grow with your family, who you trust
Yes.
to help you make those right decisions.
My recommendation all the time is if you have an existing life insurance, reach out to your agent. Your agent should be reviewing your policy every year just to find out, what are the changes that has happened the last year. Just like what you said, they could have a new child, or they could get another job, or get laid off, or just got a huge inheritance. All that affects your kind of planning. So if you have an existing life insurance, reach out to your agent, have your agent review your policy. And if your agent's not available, you could always contact me as well, and I will review it for you. Now, if you're thinking of getting a life insurance, please, my recommendation, don't just go to the internet and just do the numbers there.
Yes.
It's not going to serve the purpose. It's not going to do you any good. It's really advisable for you to talk to an insurance professional to educate you so you could have an informed decision.
I agree. This is Lunch with the Finance Bunch. You're listening to Cynthia Tan. My name is Miss Charline, and I'm so glad you're here to give us this information because it's well needed. You can always listen to the show every Friday at noon, and we're on Accelerated Radio. And you can also, if you missed the show on Accelerated Radio, you can see us on YouTube. Subscribe to my station and watch some of our past shows. There's a lot of issues that we cover, a lot of good nuggets. So Lunch with the Finance Bunch every Friday from noon to 1 here on Accelerated Radio, www.acceleratedradio.net/ARP. You can listen to us there, or if you miss listening to us, you can always catch the reruns of the show. They're right there on YouTube for you at your leisure to watch. And we're talking about life insurance today
Mm-hmm.
with Miss Cynthia Tan, and I am learning a lot.
Thank you for inviting me
Yeah,
here.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
You're always a wealth of knowledge, and I wanted to today when I was driving here, it just crossed my mind. She's so passionate about what she does. Where does that passion come from?
Mm-hmm.
And you've told us that too, that it was a personal
Personal
experience
experience.
that you
Mm-hmm.
went through and how you don't want anyone to have to experience that.
Yes.
That's a beautiful thing. I
Mm-hmm.
think the reason that I do the show is because I want people exposed to
Right.
information,
Mm-hmm.
because over my lifetime, I've seen what the lack of knowledge has done to people.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Innocent people get hurt from the lack of knowledge. So we like to have people like you come on and tell us
Thank
all the
you.
things we don't know.
Thank you. Thank
Now,
you.
you mentioned the other type of insurance that's out there, and you said that that component has a built-in savings
Right.
or equity.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk about that,
Okay.
because that's an area that I think that people don't understand and aren't clear on either.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the permanent policy. So when you say permanent, that means it would last you a lifetime. It's
Mm-hmm.
for longer periods of time as compared to a term policy.
Right.
So with the permanent policy, there's two different kinds of policies there. There's a universal life and a whole life policy. Now, again, it's best for you to talk to an insurance professional to get
Mm-hmm.
the details about what the differences are. But let me just give you an overview of that. So for a whole life policy, you're looking at guaranteed premiums for the rest of your life,
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed that you are going to have a death benefit when something happens to you, and it has guaranteed cash value as well. So guaranteed. How many products out there can actually say, okay, I have guaranteed this?
Right.
So,
So like in the mortgage world, that will be a fixed rate.
yes.
Okay. So I got it.
So it's guaranteed,
Right.
and there's cash value build up there. That's also guaranteed. It's costly. It's basically the most expensive kind of life insurance. But then people buy that for so many different reasons. So in my perfect case, the reason why I bought that is because of the guaranteed cash value there, which I know that even if the market goes down, the stock market goes down, I would always have a guaranteed cash value.
Wow. That's
So
great.
that's a whole life policy.
Uh-huh.
A universal life policy, on the other hand, it could be a fixed interest rate for the growth of your cash value, or it could be invested in the market. Okay. Now, I cannot say guarantees on universal life for the simple reason that the cash value is dependent upon the kind of interest rate the company declares, the insurance company declares, or the kind of performance the market can actually provide. So I cannot say guarantees there. There are, however, universal life policies that offer guaranteed death benefit, but the cash value accumulation is not as exciting compared to a whole life policy.
Okay.
So that's a permanent policy, and it's meant for a longer period of time for your life insurance policy with cash value accumulation.
Okay. So we have life insurance with cash value accumulation, and then we have life insurance with a guaranteed cash value.
Right.
Okay. So, and the guaranteed it would be a higher premium, but it's guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is based on the market.
Yes.
And
The market
so
or the interest rate.
market or the interest rate. Okay.
Mhm.
So this proves that you need to talk to a professional, because if you go on the internet and you answer the 5 questions, I'm sure the most necessary questions are not asked, and if they
Right.
are, there's no follow-up to make sure that this is customized
Mm-hmm.
for you or your family members or both.
Right.
And so I'm sure no one wants to leave their family
Mhm.
in dire straits. No one wants to leave their family unprotected.
Mm-hmm.
So not having this information, we all have heard the stories. We all know cases where
Right.
people did not have insurance and the family members thought they did.
Uh-huh.
Sit down with your spouse if you're married and talk about this, because you may think they have an insurance policy
Mm-hmm.
and they don't.
Yes.
And so don't assume anything, because you don't want to be shocked at the end and having lapses
Mm-hmm.
in your coverage too.
Right.
So, you may have sat down with your husband and talked to, or your wife and talked to an insurance person, and you guys signed that paperwork and something happened financially
Mm-hmm.
where, you may not know that you're no longer
Right.
covered.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very important to sit down with your spouse and say,
Yes.
where are we at with this coverage? Let's talk to our insurance person and find out if we're properly covered,
Mm-hmm.
if we've got too much
Mm-hmm.
coverage, what's going on with our family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a soft pedal way of making sure that you guys are insured,
Right.
right?
Well, one of the issues I come across is when I talk to individuals. Well, I have life insurance. I have it through work. My
Yes.
response all the time, great to have it through work. But they don't know that that is a term policy. What is the term? While you are working with the company. That's the term.